Alright, what's going on, guys? I've been back at Eldritch Horror, and we are on turn 3. I decided to cut the first video in half because it was 45 minutes, so I plan on having this be the third video, but it's actually going to be the fourth video, so it ran longer than I thought it did when I was playing, so we'll see how they end up in the end. Okay, so we're going to start with Lily in the pyramids here. And she is going to head to, after this gate here. Istanbul's gate we don't have to worry about for a while. So she's going to head over to this London gate. She can't get there yet, though. That's the problem. Because she's not on the city space, so she can't get a ticket. So she'll have to get there next turn. So she's going to head over to Rome, and then she's going to get a focus token. And prepare up for that next turn when she gets here. Mark Harrington is going after the spinner of webs. So his action ability is you and one monster on your space each lose 1 health, which is nice. So what he's going to do is move onto the space here with the spinner of webs. Use his action ability, so he loses 1 health, but he starts with 8, so that's not terrible. And the monster itself actually loses a health as well. So he only is down to 5. So that's a good start before the fight. I think them both losing a health benefits Mark more than the spinner of webs. Silas, whose action I used wrong last time. You can move after you use his action to move through 1 C space and then get an additional action. You can actually travel again. I didn't think you could, but you can. I looked it up. It's actually in the reference guide of the game. But you can't use that ability and then use a boat ticket on the same free action one. So what he doesn't have a train ticket, which sucks because Sydney, you can't get train tickets. So what he's going to do is he's going to use his free action to move here. Now he gets 2 more actions. One of those can still be travel. That's what I didn't know. So then he's going to travel to space 17. And then while he's there, I think he's going to acquire assets. He's already got 2 focus tokens. What I want to do with him is get over here to Istanbul and hopefully take out this Hound of Tindalos. And regardless, he's 1 space away. And if the Hound triggers, he moves to the nearest investigator. He's 1 space from Lily and 1 space from Silas, so I'll move him towards Silas since she's a better fighter right now than she. Well, actually, she's got a 4 in fighting, so she's pretty good too, actually. But he's got the ancient sword, which is nice. So I'll probably have him go after him, and he's going to try to get to this gate eventually. And then Lola is over here, and I actually looked this one up too. And from what I found is you don't actually get delayed unless you move onto the space. Or you move, like, once you move into the space, even if you're trying to go past the space, you would get delayed. But since she's on it, she won't get delayed. Which doesn't really matter. It would because she would be delayed and she couldn't do actions, but she still is going to be able to encounter the space, regardless if she's delayed. But because she's not going to be delayed, she can still do actions. So she's going to focus, for 1. She's on a C space, though, so she can't really do anything else. She can rest, but she doesn't need to because she hasn't lost anything yet. So she could focus, rest. She can't prepare for travel because she's on a C space. She can't acquire assets. She can't trade, and her component action doesn't actually matter in this instance. So she's just going to stay there and get into focus. And that's everybody's moves. So let's start with Lily in Rome. So Lily's in Rome, and she gets to pick a orange card for Rome. The police ask you about a book that Arturo Regani gave you. Gain 1 tome, unique asset. Okay. She's getting a lot of those. Just get shit. Tome, unique asset. Alright, let's see what we get. Ally, trinket, item tome, the old journal. Okay, I want her to improve a skill because if she improves a skill, she can put up 2 points. She can max it out, and I keep getting items. I mean, items are nice. but I'd kind of like her to improve a skill soon. So the old journal gets you, as an action, test observation. If you pass, you discover information that may prove useful to your cause. Flip this card. So we don't know what it is until we do it. Okay, so that's what she gets. And there's some more on the card, though. When you deny having it, they use force. What? Strength -1. Okay. So strength -1. Her strength is 4. So that's 3 dice. She doesn't have any bonuses to strength right now. So it's just 3 dice. She does have a focus. God, why am I missing? I got a 6 and a 5 on those dice anyway. So she succeeded. I'm having trouble hitting the freaking target. Okay. If you pass, you feel more confident than ever. Improve lore or improve will. Nice. So I still do get to improve. So her bonus, her passive, is when you improve a skill, you get to put it up again. So she gets to go up 2 lore. So these tokens have a +1 on one side, +2 on the other. So she gets to instantly go up to +2 lore, or will. I keep saying lore. Will for this one. So she's up to 5 will now. And the most you can ever improve a token is improve skill is 2. So that's the most she can ever improve her will. But that is pretty awesome. Okay, nice job, Lily. So now Mark is up, and he's fighting the guy. So the way you fight monsters is first, if there's a monster on your space, you fight him. If you kill him, you get to encounter your space after the fight. If you don't, you can't encounter your space. You just stay there, and then you can choose to stay there again next round to fight again. So he's going to fight this hound. So you already took 1 health off him. We each lost a health for his action. So the way this works is first you do the will test. Some monsters have ways that you do this differently, but the normal way is first you do will. So he has to test will. If he gets 2 or more successes, he doesn't lose any sanity. If he gets less, then you subtract the difference, and that's how much you lose. So we're looking to get 2 sanity here. The problem is if you fail the sanity test, do not resolve the fight test with this guy. So we have to pass this test to even have a chance to take some health off him. So he needs 2 successes, or else he fails the sanity test. Actually, let me see. More than that. Alright, so yes, well, just making sure I had it right. It seems, according to the reference, if I don't get 2 successes, I fail. If I lose anything, I fail the test. If I at least don't lose anything, I'll pass it. So as long as I get 2 successes, I'll be able to move on to the combat. I wasn't sure if I got 1 success and I lost 1 sanity, does that still count as a fail? Because I at least succeeded once. You have to succeed to the amount that the monster can damage you. So he's got a horror of 2. Mark, and it's a straight up test, no negatives. So Mark he's got 4 will. So he's a good guy to fight this guy. He could use a spirit dagger, which he is, because his spirit dagger allows him to gain +1. Well, does he want to use that? Or does he want to use his kerosene? I think he wants to use the spirit dagger just to get an extra die here. The kerosene can give him +5 during a combat encounter. But he still has to pass this first test before he can even use the kerosene. And you can only use 1 card. No matter how many items you have, you can only use 1 card that gives you a bonus to your skill test. So if I choose to use the kerosene for my combat, I can't use the spirit dagger because that also gives me a bonus. Even though I may be able to use the spirit dagger's lore or will, and then the kerosene and not the spirit dagger. Oh, I have to check something else again, sorry. Okay, so according to the frequently asked questions, you can actually use multiple weapons during combat, but you can only apply the highest bonus to a test. So, I read that as saying I could use the kerosene and the spirit dagger. Since the spirit dagger gives me a bonus to my will, I can use that, but then I have to use the kerosene because that gives me the higher combat bonus, +5 instead of the +2 from the dagger. But I can still use the dagger because that gives me +1 will. So I can use the highest bonus from the cards. So I think that's how I'm going to go. So he has He gets 5 dice for his will test. He's using the spirit dagger for the will test, +1. So So that's 5 dice. So we need 2 to pass this. So let's see what we get. Oh, he gets 1 success. We could use... No, that's only Lola's on her space. We're rolling on this one. So he's going to use... I can't believe all those dice. He's going to use his focus. That's what he's got it for. To reroll one of these dice. He needs a 5 or a 6. 5! Yes! He gets a 5. Alright. So, we are able... Since we only need 2 successes... We are able to basically take no damage from this test, so we succeed. We didn't take damage, so now we can move on to the fight, which is -2 strength. And he has 5 health left. So, we're going to discard our kerosene. That gives us +5 to strength during a combat encounter. So we discard this card. So we get 5 dice for that card. And then we get 4 dice for his fight. And then we take 2 away for the monster. So we have 7 dice, and we just got to do as much damage as we can here. If we don't kill him, we still can try next round, but we want to do as much damage as possible this round. So let's see what we get. Oh my god. 1 success. All those dice. Man, I was rolling so good at the beginning too. Those first couple rounds. 1 success. I can use my clue to re-roll a die, and I think I'm going to do that with Mark. I gotta try to take at least some more damage off, so I'm going to spend his clue to re-roll one of these dies. Oh, that's so horrible. Alright, so he spent his clue and he gets to re-roll 1 die. Oh my god, all those dice. 4. So he fails on that. So he does 1 damage with 8 dice, basically, to that guy. That's horrible. Okay, so 1 more damage to the spinner. But Mark also, because the spinner has 2 damage that he can do to him, and he only got 1 success, you take his 2 minus our 1. Mark also takes 1 damage. Excuse me. So he's down to 6 damage. Wow, that was just not how I was hoping that would go. I would hope at least take 3 at least off him or something. Okay, that's the way it works sometimes. Okay, so now we move on to Silas, and he is over here on a city space, so he just has to encounter his space, just a general encounter on a city. So let's see what he gets. Legends say that this cemetery is haunted. Exploring the headstones, you encounter an angry specter, eager to share his story. The experience is nerve-wracking, but you try to listen. Will. Test will. Alright, so Silas has a will of 3, and he has no bonuses to will, only during a combat encounter. And he gets a 5, so he succeeds. Alright, if you pass, the spirit gratefully fades from view. Recover 2 sanity. Alright, well, that's what these general encounters are. They're just, some things can happen. Silas hasn't lost any sanity, so he can't recover sanity. The good thing is he didn't get anything bad happen to him either, so I guess that's good. And our last character is Lola Hayes, and she's the one who's the most important. She's down here, and she's going to try to do the second Rila encounter here to put the second token and pass this first mystery. So we need to draw. Rila is risen, special encounter. Okay. Alright, Lola, let's see what you got. You swim up to the slimy rocks and walk into the corpse city of Rila. Inside, Cyclopean? I can't read half this crap. Green stone blocks meet at Euclidean angles. Okay. The very sight of this alien construction threatens to shatter your mind. Will -1. Alright, her will is 3. So she gets 2 will. She has 2 focus. 6, we pass. Man, we can roll them when we don't need to fight the epic monster, apparently. Okay, so we do the middle one. Try not to focus on the architecture. You instead take note of a series of hieroglyphics inscribed on the walls. You desperately try to interpret them for useful information. Lore -1. Okay, this is the big test here. Lore -1. Her lore will be 2 because she put a bonus on it. It was 3, so it's 2. That's a 2 and a 1. Alright, so the first focus we will spend for a reroll. That is a 1. Uh-oh. Second focus we will spend for our other reroll. That is a 6. Nice. Okay. If you pass, place 1 Eldritch token on the active mystery. Awesome. So we're able to get through that mystery pretty fast. So we place another Eldritch token on our mystery here, and that's 2. We needed half the number of players, so we're good. But at the end of the Mythos phase is when we actually do this, so we still have to get through the whole Mythos phase before we do that card. Okay, and she got to keep her clues, which is nice. I didn't want to spend them. I would have spent them for rerolls, but we get to keep them, so that's good because we're going to be needing them for this monster's ability, I think. Okay, so that's everybody. So now we move on to our Mythos phase. And it is an ongoing rumor with nasty tentacles. We are getting screwed here. So we spawn 2 clues first, and then we read how we're getting screwed. Both our rumors are the bad kind. If there's tentacles on the card, it's bad cards. Alright, 2 clues. First one is London. So it goes right here in London. Second clue is the heart of Africa, which is right here. Okay. Treader of the dust. Everything in the room is rotten or corroded. All that remains of the wizard is a pile of fine dust marked by 2 small footprints. Ongoing rumor. When this card enters play, spawn the... Oh, Jesus. Spawn the... Quakel... Jesus. Utius? Sure. Epic monster on Rome. When it's defeated, solve the rumor. Okay. So I gotta find that guy. Alright, so this is just shitty. Okay, so if the Reckoning card comes out, the lead investigator may impair strength, which means he gets a -1 strength. If he does not, at the end of the Mythos phase, draw and resolve another Mythos card without resolving that card's Resolve Reckoning effects icon. So the red icon that makes you do a whole bunch of stuff. You don't have to do it, but you have to do everything else on that card. And if you remember, if we ever get through all our Mythos cards, we lose the game. So it's going to make us fly through these things. So that is just crappy. And now this monster, speaking of crappy, here's that monster whose name I cannot pronounce. And he gets -1 to the will check. He's 3 horror, which sucks. No subtractions to the strength test with 2 strength, but he has 6 health. Number of investigators +2. But the problem is if you lose health from him during the strength part of the test, you roll a die. On a 1 or 2, you are devoured, which means you are instantly killed. Your investigator is gone from the game, and we'd have to get a new one. So that guy sucks. We need to go after him, though. And Silas is close. I wanted him to go for the gate, but he might have to take a turn and go after that guy. Lily has a good strength, too, and a really good will. But she's got a lot of good stuff, too. I don't want to lose her. Silas has the ancient sword. So I may want him to try to take him out. He can get there next turn. If he gets a train ticket and then heads over there, he could fight him. He also has the fishing net, Silas, which reduces the damage of monsters you encounter by 1. So he would actually only do. We would only have to worry about 1 success instead of 2. So I think Silas would be the one to take him down. Regardless, that sucks. All right, so we're going to move on to our next phase here and see how we do. Because actually no, we get to go through the mystery. We succeeded. It's the end of the Mythos phase, so we get to go to the next mystery. So we take this mystery, and that is the good thing. Push this off to the side. So we only need 2 more. So we flip the next one, and let's see what we have to do. The Deep Ones attack. That sounds great. Terrible storms have battered fishing villages across the globe, but it's merely the prelude to an invading army of Deep Ones. When this card enters play, each investigator places 1 Eldritch token on the nearest sea space that does not contain an Eldritch token. Oh boy. Alright. So we'll start with Lily, since she's first player. The nearest sea space. She's, let's see, 1, 2 here. 1, 2 here. So it's got to be one of those. So I think she's going to put 1 up here on 13 on the top of the board. 1, 2. And then Mark is going to put 1, 1, 2 here, number 8. Silas is going 1, 1, 2 to 18 here. And Lola is going to put 1, 1, 2 on 12 down here. There's none more than 2 away from anybody, or less than 2 away from anybody. Okay, let's see what happens. As an encounter, an investigator on a sea containing an Eldritch token may attempt to fend off the Deep One invasion. A Deep One monster ambushes him. If he defeats it, he may spend 1 clue to place that Eldritch token on this card. Okay, so we have to have a clue before we even go there. At the end of the Mythos phase, if there are Eldritch tokens on this card equal to the number of investigators, solve this mystery. Do not discard the Eldritch tokens from the game board. Ooh. Do not discard them. Oh, wow. So that ties into Cthulhu's ability, where if you go over a space with the Eldritch token, you're delayed. Which means every time we go against these guys, we're going to be delayed on that space. Wow, okay. And they stay there. Do not discard the Eldritch tokens from the game board. It says to put that Eldritch token on this card. At the end of the Mythos phase, if there are Eldritch tokens on this card equal number of elements, do not discard the Eldritch tokens from the game board. So how do we put that Eldritch token on this card? Whatever, okay. I guess we put them back? Or what? I don't know. I guess we just know. I guess I'll just put a different one. Spend 1 clue to place that Eldritch token on this card. At the end of the Mythos phase, if there are Eldritch tokens on this card equal to the number of investigators solve the mystery, do not discard the Eldritch tokens from the game board. Okay. I guess they stay there. And okay, so that's the next one we have to do. We have to get to these spots, and we have to kill Deep Ones who are going to be ambushing us. There's a Deep Ones. When we started the game with Cthulhu, we put a Star Spawn and a Deep One token up here. So this is just here as reference. So when we fight them, we just flip this guy. This is what we need to worry about. And then we put them back. So as reference. That's why we put 1 up there in the beginning of the game. Because this card could come up. Okay, so that is the Mythos phase. We drew a new thing. We have to kill Deep Ones. And we're going to be delayed every time we go to the space with the Deep One because of the token. This thing can go away because we don't need that anymore. So because of all that, it's going to be craziness. And we need to do 4 of them. Well, okay then. Let's figure out what I want to do in the next turn.